as far as the weather goes, as we mentioned earlier, a lot of crews for us at CBS 42, in fact, across the states.
Yeah, from Shelby to St. Clair counties, Anniston, Gadsden, they're everywhere.
And these guys are waiting on word from this guy as to as when the system will sort of get here and things will get a little bit better or worse. And that's the question. I guess it's going to get worse before it gets better, huh, Gene?
Exactly right, Jim. And all day long, it's been watching a pot of water boil. We've been watching the rain, knowing that the cold air was going to come in, backing its way in actually from Georgia and turn the rain to snow. And that's exactly what's been going on just within the past hour. A lot more white being seen on Titan 3D radar. And just now getting some reports of big fat flakes coming down in Cottondale in Tuscaloosa County. Also steady snow right now in Jasper, in Walker County. We showed you the live pictures from Coleman. I think we have some other live pictures we can show you. One of our tower cameras in Cherokee County at Weiss Lake, we can show you that there's snow on the ground there right now. All right, and then we also can take a look at Titan 3D radar to show you that off to the east where we had Tiffany and also we have Chris. Chris is underneath those big flakes as well, and there's yet more to come. Will it stick? That'll be determined by when the temperatures at the ground get below 32. Sticking in Hamilton for sure. We know it's sticking in Coleman. I think there's something wrong with the sensor because that's not 36 degrees up there. 33 Asheville, so very close to sticking on the eastern side of the state. And then back around Tuscaloosa and Brent, temperatures are still too warm for anything that's falling to stick. Remember, just because the temperature isn't 32 doesn't mean that there won't be any snow. It just means that it won't stick. I think we have those live pictures ready to go now. Weiss Lake, we can show you the snow that's been falling for the last couple of hours now. And you see it's fairly thick out there in Cherokee County. So we continue to watch that. And as we continue to go through the rest of the afternoon and on into the evening, the snow is going to pick up. Our exclusive TitanCast computer model shows the snow piling up through 6:30, and then after that, even more. It'll start to taper off probably around 8, 9 o'clock. That's when things will quiet down, and this system finally exits off into Georgia, where they don't need any more snow. They've had a day full of ice and misery over there. It's all part of a big winter storm system that we've been following since the beginning of the week. No two storm systems are alike, but this one looks very much like the same system that developed in January of 2000. Low pressure in the Gulf of Mexico, pumping a lot of moisture up over cold air, which is being pushed down from the Carolinas and Georgia into Alabama. And basically, it's like a snow machine. You put that water into the cold air, turn the crank, and out comes the snow. And that's what we're seeing, and we will be seeing for the rest of this afternoon. So tonight, snow continues until about midnight. Then we'll be watching for the temperatures to drop below freezing everywhere, and that means that whatever falls will ice up. Then tomorrow we will finally start to thaw out. The sunshine returns. We'll see a high of 47 degrees. So the good news is we will start to have a thawing out. So that's the exciting part. We just have to get through the afternoon, the evening. And it looks from our reporters that a lot of folks have heeded the warnings to get off the road, stay off the roads, even though nothing was happening this morning. And people might have thought, oh, nothing's going to happen. It is happening right now. We go to our Mark Prater, who's out in Shelby County. And Mark, you were watching this morning. I know it kind of got a little bit dicey when we started getting those reports of icing in East Alabama. What did you think when you started hearing those?
Well, obviously, my big concern was how much ice would start to develop and how far west this would go. And, you know, that's one of those things that we have to watch very carefully because the ground temperatures versus what's happening above us, obviously, very important. And as you mentioned earlier, we can have temperatures like we do here in Shelby County right now. It's actually, I think the last check, let's see here, I'll show you. It looks like we're at about 36, 37 degrees. So, you know, it's not nearly cold enough for the accumulation, but what we've got right now is just good old-fashioned light rain, not a whole lot going on here. And it's actually not that cold, all things considered. You know, it could be a lot worse, and that cold air didn't intrude quite as far west as it could have, so that's good. But for our neighbors right there on the state line, I mean, they've had ice caking up all day. So we've been fortunate in that response, or at least that sense that we haven't had to deal with the ice yet. But after the snow, temperatures will drop back down below freezing. So anything that's out there on the roads right now certainly will be refreezing.
I mentioned earlier how this system kind of reminds me of the one from 2000 and even I think the one back in 2005 where we had this area of low pressure out of the Gulf of Mexico. Those are real tricky. If it goes further inland, actually makes a landfall, so to speak, or stays out in the Gulf, that can make a big difference in how much snow we see or don't see. And it looks like we're right in the sweet spot, so to speak, in the atmosphere.
Well, we are, and realistically, you know, that's as a forecaster in the Southeast, as you and I both know, and Ted as well, is when you get a low pressure that develops in the Gulf of Mexico with the cold air already in place, that's all you need. And it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, certainly things can change. And we did have some dry air, which moved in a little bit earlier today, and that's one of the things that kind of comes and goes with low pressures. You have a slot of dry air slide in, it can really cut back on precip, but it's not done yet. And obviously there is still plenty of moisture to work with, as you were talking about. It's getting pulled into this storm as that low moves across the Big Bend of Florida and into Georgia. We'll be on that northwest quadrant, and those winds will continue to push all that cold air from Tennessee back into North Georgia, back into Alabama. And as you pointed out earlier, we've got cold air collapsing in from Mississippi as well. So that's why we're seeing that changeover in our western counties, but not right now along the I-65 corridor around Birmingham back into Shelby County. But I still have a lot of confidence that once it does start, it won't take long for the ground to turn white.
That's right. And you know, Mark, that's the thing that our reporters have been telling us is that, well, it was just raining, and then all of a sudden, just like that, it started changing. And once it starts, there's no going back. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. And we're on the verge of having that happen here in Birmingham. We're going to check in just a few minutes with Ted McInerney outside. He can let us know what it looks like here atop Red Mountain. But until then, let's go back to the desk.